Is it that causes doubt today? One of the multiple themes in this story is doubt. And so I started to wonder, what is it that causes people to doubt that Jesus was risen today? And what is the issue with doubt? I feel a little bit bad for Thomas as I was considering how to possibly tie in the theme of baptism in Marley, and we have another baptism. I know as a dad, I always wanted to be there for the first of our kids, whatever it was. And when it's babies, I think of the first time they roll over, or the first time they hunch up. Of course, everyone knows it's pretty dramatic if you're there for the first steps of a baby. I know one of our kids, we scared them so bad after they took their first steps because we cheered. They didn't walk again for weeks. The first. We don't want to miss the first. We want to be in on the ground floor. And Thomas has already missed the first appearance of the risen Christ in the story we hear from today. At least in the Gospel of John, it was Mary and Mary who were at the tomb when Jesus rose from the dead. Thomas missed that. And now Thomas is gone again, and it says the disciples are gathered, and they're in a locked room because they're afraid. And Jesus appears, and he says, "Peace be with you, peace be with you. As the Father sent me, so I send you. If you forgive the sins of any, they're forgiven. If you retain them, they're retained." And Thomas misses this as well. And because Thomas misses it for a second time, he is feeling left out. And the gift Thomas brings, the gift he brings to us all, is he speaks precisely and directly into the moment. And he speaks what is his truth. He speaks to those who have experienced Jesus. And he says out loud, unless I personally experience this and touch the marks in Jesus' hand and put my hand in his side, Thomas says, I will not believe. And so perhaps the gift today is to identify, where is our doubt today? And how do we handle that doubt? There is nothing wrong with doubt. Doubt is the beginning of faith, at least as we hear this story today. But what I really like about Thomas is he speaks truthfully what is his doubt. And so I thought today the question is, what is our doubt? What is the doubt we have about the risen Christ today? Maybe it's not that Christ was risen, but maybe it's rather, does Christ matter? Or maybe the doubt we have is God real and just given the things that I have experienced? And when I say I have, I mean you. And then what do you do with your doubt? Maybe the doubt that exists in the world today is prevalent because we have so many churches, many of them all saying, we have Jesus cornered, figured out, and this is the right way. Just that alone can cause doubt with people who are searching for God's presence in the world. Maybe it's a doubt because it seems as if evil exists or people don't care. But what I like about Thomas is he says precisely out loud to those who have experienced God in the story, the risen Christ, he says out loud, unless I touch his hands or put my hand in his side, I will not believe. I think we are invited to do the very same thing today, to speak out loud what is our doubt, but maybe even more so what is our need to believe. If you had to put together a statement today about where you're at, what would you name as your doubt? Now that you've thought about your doubt as it relates to faith, what is it that you would need to eliminate that doubt? Now, whatever that is, your doubt and what it is you need to eliminate that doubt, who will you share that with? At a minimum, will you at least speak that out loud to God? Will you at least name that and say to God, here I am. This is what I doubt and this is what I need. I'm on dangerous ground here. Inviting you to do this, I am on absolutely dangerous ground because I'm talking about real life and real doubt. And I'm inviting you into real need, whatever that is. And I am not God. I have no idea how God works in the midst of our life and the craziness that goes on. I do know that people have the freedom of choice. I do know that a lot of people are making choices for a lot of reasons all around us, and their choices impact us. And so, although you may speak your doubt out loud and you may speak what it is you need out loud, what if what you have spoken, people are making all kinds of choices to make sure that it doesn't happen? How does God work in the midst of our lives today? In the story, Jesus honors the doubt of Thomas by coming back specifically for Thomas. So it says 1 week later, Jesus returns. And when Jesus returned, he led off with, "Peace be with you." And as he came back, because Thomas was present now, he immediately identifies Thomas as having to be given the gift of faith and his belief. So there was a lot of things that happened between "peace be with you" and Jesus leaving the first time. But the second time Jesus comes, when he comes specifically to address doubt. So he says, "Peace be with you." He identifies Thomas. He does not yell at Thomas for missing the first appearance. He does not yell at Thomas for having doubt. He does not question Thomas for what he doesn't believe. This is almost hard to believe because Thomas was told by the group. Jesus doesn't chew him out for any of this. He simply meets him and says, "Now, touch my hands. Put your hand in my side." And then he says, "Blessed are you." He says, "Do you believe because now you have seen?" I think God still works in this way in our lives. The challenge is, will you speak out loud to God what it is you need to believe in this world today? And then will you return to a place where there are many believers like Thomas did? Thomas stayed with the people who witnessed Jesus in the resurrection. And so I think it is only fair if we say it's okay to speak what your doubt is out loud and say to God like Thomas, this is what I need. Then I think also like Thomas, we should stay with people around us that have experienced the very need they had being met by God. We need to stay surrounded in that type of an atmosphere so that our doubt has the opportunity to meet the presence of God in some way that we cannot name today. I think God shows up in our lives, in our struggles, in our doubts, even today. When someone welcomes and accepts you for who you are and what you are and does not criticize, especially in a church, that is God meeting a need and extending a welcome. When people come to check on you in a difficult time of your life, and they do it because they are faithful, that is God reaching out to try to meet you. When the gospel group practices to sing music, that is God showing up to meet the doubt of others. Those are a bunch of people giving up free time to be here to practice. When all of the ladies show up week after week or every other week to work in the accessory building, to make great clothing and other things available to other people at a very reduced rate. Maybe that's God working in the doubt of other people. Maybe somebody will show up and find just what they need. And then when you say, why do you do that? Where did you get it? You can say, well, that's just what we do. This is a ministry. Whenever we reach out to care for others, that is God trying to meet us in our need without criticism. Today, I encourage you to identify your doubt, share with Jesus what it is you need to have that doubt met, and stay with others who have already met Jesus. And like our story, I truly do believe God continues to reach out and meet us in that very need we have expressed. Today we are blessed because we believe and we have not seen. That's what Jesus says. Blessed are those who believe and have not seen. But today I want to raise the possibility that it is possible to see Jesus in the world today. Just stick with people who have experienced that. And I believe that God will reach out and meet you in your need. No criticism, just love, and continue you in your journey of faith. Amen.